Hey everyone, so not too long ago, a friend of mine posted on their Instagram that they had just discovered the Vedic or Sidereal astrology system, and they were really confused about it because now all of their signs had changed because previously they've been following the Western or tropical system. And they were kind of baffled about how the signs could be so different and how the tropical system could be accurate for them, even though it's less accurate than the Vedic or Sidereal system. And they were wanting to know why. And I've actually had a few different friends ask me about this, so I thought I would create a video to address that because I have 4 reasons why both the Vedic and the Sidereal might both apply to you. Before we get into that, let me just explain very, very high level, super kindergarten level, the difference between Sidereal, the Vedic, and Western or the tropical, and what exactly that means. So in the tropical system, which is predominantly followed in the Western world, we have, we all know that the middle of December to the middle of January, for example, is ruled by Capricorn. And the middle of January to the middle of February is ruled by Aquarius. And the middle of February to the middle of March is ruled by Pisces. And in the tropical system, that's basically always how it is, give or take a few days on when each of those time periods starts. But basically, that is always the time frame. No matter what's happening in the stars, what's happening in the sky, what's happening with the sun, the tropical system basically sticks to that formula. The Vedic or the Sidereal system, on the other hand, is about where the constellations and where the sun actually is placed at the time of your birth. So, for example, with me, I was born at the end of December. So in the tropical system, per the formula, I am a Capricorn. But in the Vedic system, the sun and the constellations were actually in Sagittarius for me, right? So that's where actually things were in the sky at the time of my birth, not just following that particular formula that happens. And the reason why the Vedic is considered more accurate is, number one, it's actually where the stars are in the sky, and number two, the stars in the sky and the way that everything is shifting changes. So, back in the day, maybe, in 2,000, 3,000 years ago, my birthday actually would have fallen under Capricorn because that's where the constellations would have been. But everything is shifting. And so it keeps up with the time. It keeps up with what's going on in the sky. Okay, so now you have an understanding. But yet, you may feel like, okay, but both apply to me, or still the tropical applies to me more than the Vedic. Why is that? Okay, I have 4 reasons why. The first one is, when we live in a society, we create constructs collectively. Now, some of us may feel like we're born into a particular construct, right? Particular society, particular culture, and we're born into it and we're conditioned into it. And that's true, but even though we're conditioned into it, because we're conditioned, we continue that kind of thinking. So if you grew up in the Western world where the tropical system is predominant, the Western system is predominant, and then you're likely going to align with those meanings and those signs more just because of the collective mind space that you're currently in. So you're going to naturally align and be conditioned into that more so than what's actually going on in the stars. So that is the first reason. The second reason is transits are moving around all the time, right? Planets are shifting, stars are shifting, they're happening all around as we move around the Earth. And as that happens, different parts of our own personal chart are going to get highlighted. There was a period of time where I kept resonating with my own readings that were for Cancers, even though I do not have any strong placements in Cancer for me. But what was going on with the transits was likely affecting that area of my life or those aspects of my personality or that aspect of my chart. And so I was resonating a lot more with those aspects. So things are always changing, things are always shifting. And so there may be certain times when the signs in your tropical chart are being highlighted with the transits. And so you're going to resonate with those more. And then other times when the signs in your Vedic system are being highlighted with the transits. And so you're going to resonate more with those aspects of yourself as well. And when it comes to, okay, but which system do I follow? I really believe that it's important to trust ourselves and trust what we're drawn towards. I feel that we gravitate towards certain charts or certain energies at certain points in our lives because that's what we need the most, right? Or maybe that's where we need the greatest awareness or the greatest lessons or the greatest guidance or the greatest gifts or the greatest feeling of connection. So it really doesn't matter. Resonate with the one that feels best for you, and it's okay if that changes because everything is changing. We're always evolving, and maybe you've outgrown one chart and it's time for you to work on the other chart, the other aspect of yourself, the other reflection of yourself, and maybe that's why you're kind of shifting. And it really doesn't matter, just go with whatever you're gravitating towards. And the last point I will make is that technically we're actually all signs. We're all 12 signs. And a lot of emphasis in the astrology community gets put on sun, moon, and rising because those are often the easiest ones to focus on. Those are the three most dominant kinds of energies in your chart. So, if you're trying to get a reading or something like that, you'll probably resonate with one of those three because they will make up the most of your chart, your experiences, and your personality. But ultimately, we are all 12 signs. All of them are important to us. All of them affect us in different ways. And then with the transits moving around, of course, like I was saying before, different ones will be highlighted at different times. So it makes sense that you would resonate with both charts because you're already all signs, right? And it's not so much about am I one sign or the other? It's rather, how does this sign affect me? And in what areas of life do they affect me in? Because everybody has all the same signs in their chart. It's just a combination of what aspects or what areas of life those signs tend to dominate, right? Tend to give you the most experiences. So it's not about I'm not this at all and I am all of this. It's about I'm all of this in these areas of my life and I'm this in these other areas of life. All right, so I have a few tips for you going forward now that you understand the two different systems and a little bit about why you resonate with both. So the first tip is labels are important because they allow us to understand ourselves better. They allow us to define ourselves because we can't really know who or what we are until we know who and what we aren't, right? That contrast gives us an understanding of who we are. So labels like what sign you fall under or what sign you claim, those are all really important. However, because we're always growing and we're always evolving, labels sometimes need to be let go of, right? They serve their purpose and then we outgrow them and then we're often in search of a new label or a new way to define ourselves, or we just don't want to be defined at all. So sometimes when it comes to personality traits like the Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram or astrology and things like that, we get very attached to a particular label because it really defined us and probably was very pivotal to our self-understanding for a large part of our lives, right? Like maybe the past decade, you've really resonated with certain qualities. So it's hard, of course, to kind of outgrow that and let that go. But ultimately, it's important to know that you don't really care about the label. You don't actually care about the sign. You don't care that you're a Scorpio or that you're a Capricorn or that you're a Sagittarius or that you're a Gemini. You don't actually care. You think you care because you got attached to the label. But you don't actually care. What you really care about, what you're actually going for when you're looking at astrology or looking at the charts or trying to find your reading on YouTube or understand how you're going to be affected over the next month with the transits, what you're really going for is you're trying to understand yourself. You're trying to get the best wisdom and guidance for yourself. You're trying to understand what's to come for yourself. The signs are all just details, right? What you really want is the understanding of the self. So that might help you kind of let go of the labels and allow you to be more fluid between the signs. I go back and forth with my chart and that's very in flow with the universe, right? The universe is very intuitive, it's very flowy. It just finds solutions in all ways. It finds benefits in all things. So just go with that as well. Just know that neither one is really right or wrong. It's really about what gives you the best understanding of yourself. And it's something that you can shed and change whenever you're ready, whenever you have outgrown it. And maybe come back to when you want to come back and relearn certain lessons or like go deeper on certain lessons and go down deeper into the layers of the onion. So the second tip is don't overthink it. Just go with whatever you're drawn to at that particular time. And when it's time for you to move on, you'll be drawn to something else. And the third tip is something I already mentioned in the first tip, which is go with the flow, go with the intuitive flow of the universe, and you will find yourself where you need to be and where you want to be if you follow the flow of the universe, which you do that by following what you are drawn to. The fourth tip is remember that you create your own reality. Astrology, psychic readings, all of these are powerful, wonderful tools, but they should not be used to define what will or will not happen. They should not be used as things that tell you what without a doubt is going to happen, set in stone, you have no free will. These are just tools to kind of let you know where your energy is at, or maybe certain experiences that you might have, or maybe certain strengths or weaknesses that you may want to enhance or work on, right? The chart in astrology can tell you areas that you have strengths in, and those are great to maximize, and areas where you have weaknesses in, or where you have a lot of aggression that maybe you need to release and work on. And those are really good things, because then you can have a more fulfilling, powerful, grander, greater, happier life. But ultimately, you create your reality. So what does that mean in this context, right? What does that mean when there's two different charts? What it means is, if you still don't know which chart you're drawn to, that's okay. You know what? Here's what you do instead. You read the signs for one chart, or listen to the videos for one chart. You listen to the videos or read the signs for the other chart. And then you pick the one that has the better outcome, or the one that sounds better to you, right? The one that you're like, yeah, I want to be like that. You get to pick. You get to create your reality. And both charts are your chart. So you get to pick which side you want to live on. And then you get to go on and embody those kinds of archetypes in your life and create the reality that you want and the experiences that you want. Remember, because you're not beholden to these signs, you're not beholden to the chart, you're all signs. So pick the ones that you like and make that your reality. And the fifth tip is remember that there is balance. So all signs have both negative qualities and positive qualities, and you get to embody whichever side you choose, right? Because you create your own reality. An example of this is with numerology, for example. So let's take the example of 3. Let's say you are in a personal year of 3. Well, the positives of that number are this is a year of spontaneity, excitement, creativity, ideas, flow, right? Communication, putting yourself out there. Those are really positive qualities. On the negative, though, it can be a year of being very scattered. It can be a year of being a bit more stressed. It can be a year of, hyperactivity, right? So you get to pick which side of that spectrum, or which side of that number, which is a full spectrum, you want to experience. Do you want to experience the spontaneity and the ideas and creativity? Go for that one and balance out the scattered elements of the 3 and start having routines, right? Start having routines, start having plans, start, being better about your to-do list and things like that. And that way you have the creativity, plus you're not so scattered. Boom, winning combo. So do that with the signs as well. Okay, I like this aspect of this sign, I like this aspect of this sign in this chart. This is who I'm going to be. Okay, here's the negatives of this quality, here's the positives quality or this sign. Okay, I'm going to work on these positives and I'm going to rectify these negatives. And there you go, boom, winning life. So I hope that this helped clarify any confusion around this topic. And I hope it gave you a sense of peace and a sense of ease that you can go either way, or you can mix and match and just go with the flow and know that it's okay to change it. And if you would like more of this type of content, I do currently have a course out right now for light workers or those looking to have additional spiritual activations to activate their light codes and really connect with their divine mission and purpose here, as well as their divine gifts. And you'll meet one of your guides, you'll meet your higher self. And it really is a really beautiful journey of healing, of chakra cleansing, of chakra alignments, just really, really powerful activation. So if you're interested in that, you can visit the link in the description box below. It's my light codes activation course at my website, which is www.spiritualactivationacademy.com. And I will catch you guys in the next one.